What if love is more than just a feeling? What if it's a universal force shaping how we understand ourselves, our community, and the world? Welcome to the Philosophy of Love, where we break down the science behind love, how it influences our minds, our behaviors, and the way we connect with humanity. Join us as we explore the psychology of love as a driving force for empathy, growth, and understanding. You're watching the Philosophy of Love podcast with Juan Lee and Dr. James Brockington.
Well, hello, everybody. Once again, we're back. The Philosophy of Love, me and myself. Look, me and myself. With myself, Juan Lee, and Dr. James Brockington, we are here again to share with the philosophy of love. I'm the founder of ClearJourney and the author of a book called Love Made Simple. And you know what? They caught me again, but that's all right. Love Made Simple. It's a book that's the foundational for ClearJourney. And if you'd like to learn more about ClearJourney, go over to clearjourney.org and you can find out more about ClearJourney. If you go to our YouTube channel, you can go to our YouTube channel and find out a lot about our podcast and the things that we have there for your pleasure and learning edification. Mm-hmm. Can't think of anything else, but if you're the first time here, if you're here for the first time, we really appreciate you being here with us. If you would hit the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, that would really, really, really help us in continuing to do what we do. What ClearJourney, the mission of ClearJourney is to help individuals that are looking for answers to life's challenges. We give them resources and education in areas so that they can live a more productive and successful life. We want to give you a foundation of a love mindset so that you can navigate life successfully in all that you do. And today, what we do here on the Philosophy of Love is really enforce and to, lay that foundation of how significant and important love is in our lives. And so today is going to be very interesting. I think it's going to be pivotal in our growth and development in this area, is to be able to understand the value that love plays in our lives, mentally, physically, and emotionally, but really practically how love actually helps us in navigating life in a very successful and productive way. So with that being said, can't think of anything else that I haven't shared with them, but let's get into it then, Doc. What's happening?
Yeah, let's step right on into it and have some fun with it.
And the value of love.
The value of love. And in the acknowledgement of the value of love, we're going to delve into the purposing and the meaning of love. Because if you do not have the purpose and the meaning, then the structure and the form of how you internalize love becomes a challenge. 90% of the battle is the capacity to critically think and reason so that you can adapt, adjust, and achieve. That's what's called thinking and behavior modeling. So when you have a model, a pattern, a system, a organized conception of what it is you're doing, you become more fluidic in its application. Why is that essential? Because love is about fluid movement. By its design, it's an emotion, and emotions have one singular purpose, and that is to attract your attention to the specificity of the moment you find yourself in. Why do I use the word specificity? Because this is your central acknowledgement of what is in front of you. Everything that we evolve to and evolve from is clarified by that acknowledgement. This is that moment when some belief that I have, some action that I'm taking has the capacity to influence an outcome result. The significance of that moment is what draws you emotionally to it. The stumbling block, the reason we have value in love, the stumbling block is sometimes not being able to separate the emotional energy from the feeling that it facilitates, from the feeling being the meaning and purpose of what it is we're doing, what it is we are engaging with. Why is this singular event so important to me? Is the acknowledgement of the meaning and purpose of love. We've had discussions before where we have tailored a sense of the vibrance, the organic, and the living aspects of what love represents. Living, organic, vibrant emotion tells you that it is constantly keeping itself in alignment with where you are at any specific moment in your life. Situational awareness is formed by that.
Man, that right there is a mic drop, because to know that there is, in other words, what you're basically saying is that we have an innate guiding system on the inside of us that allows us to recognize the moment and being present in that moment, as allowing it to be a guide for us to be able to navigate that moment.
And that is
clear.
If you're clear, then the interpretation of that moment becomes what in mental health terms is referred to as your subconsciousness.
Okay.
Your subconsciousness is the clarification of your linkage emotionally to any circumstance and any situation you encounter. The subconsciousness is, for all practical purposes, the core of our awareness, our ability to acknowledge that we exist, our capacity through the acknowledgement of existence to discern meaning and purpose, and by illustrating meaning and purpose, a directional growth is establishing our sense of alignment to our circumstances and situation.
It's amazing how things that we look over as being so significant as it relates to this life journey. Because you use the word like alignment, and being able to be in alignment with something. It's only relevant as it relates to being able to follow or to go beyond or to move forward in this experience, in this journey that we're in. And it's really important that we understand that alignment is essential. It's necessary.
Yes.
Because it's established already. It's not like you have to, quote unquote, figure it out. The alignment, it's there. We spend time missing alignment, not even knowing that there is an alignment that's necessary. We out here trying to figure something out. And in essence, we should be more so trying to align ourselves rather than trying to figure something out. But we're not taught to align.
No, we're not.
We're basically taught to figure it out for ourselves, because guess what? I had to figure it out for myself. And that's the, or
there's that moment.
Can you hold 1 second?
I sure can.
And so when we think about this in the sense of alignment versus just trying to figure it out, man, it just seems like we're spinning our wheels in the wrong area, trying to navigate this thing called life.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about the significance. And we're talking about the difference between thinking about and trying to figure something out that's already there.
It's already.
It's like, here's the instructions, guys. Just align with these instructions. These are the instructions, and it'll give you moment by moment clarity, moment by moment directions and confidence in this thing called life. Because ultimately we got to put the pieces of the puzzle together.
We do.
And it's about alignment and not trying to figure it out. Go ahead. That was my intake or take on what you were saying.
Absolutely. Now, in the larger sense of that intake on what I'm saying, the ways in which, and there are basically two ways that we can pursue it. The ways in which we engage in that process involve thinking and behavior, how they align themselves. And notice I'm going to keep using your word alignment because I want to drive that point home. Thinking and behavior align themselves, and how by that acknowledgement of alignment, we are always, second part, we are always in a position to operationally adapt and adjust to any situation or circumstance we encounter. Why is operational a big word and a significant input into this? Because operation is how we function.
Again, you're using words that you and I understand. And I go back to you and I because of our bond in mission and operations comes from the military. And but people don't recognize, they don't realize that the systems and these type of things that are in place are the reasons why the success they come from that.
They come from that, exactly. They actually come from that early developmental stage, roughly between the ages of basically conception to 10, with the critical points being the ages of 5 to 10, when we can, from a thinking and behavior perspective, adapt and adjust to our circumstances and our situations. The trust and the confidence that comes from that individual's capacity to adapt and adjust become the foundation for his or her core principles, values, and decision making. And that core principle, that core value, and that decision making becomes a pattern of belief. So emerging from this 5 to 10, and look at how early in life that is, 5 to 10, establishing the central orientation to your realistic experiences that are going to be the pattern of your life. That's why it's called your core, your central orientation to the realistic experiences, the relative emotions, the realistic emotions that you will encounter, all stemming from this period of time in an individual's life. The central issue being how that individual is introduced to this process, becoming the essential way in which he or she establishes the trust and confidence in this process. That's why mentoring and nurturing are so big.
Well, let me ask a question then. If that being the case, you hear things about early startup stages of life, and they call it preschool or early startup, stuff like that. This process that you're referring to, or this alignment that you're creating at this point in time in your life, it's happening whether or not you are intentional or not.
True, because you are, as an organism, as a functioning human being, an organism, you are engaging with your environment. The moment you are conceived, quite frankly, you are engaging with your environment. We're talking about the womb now.
Mm-hmm.
The moment, the arrows align themselves or it turns blue, you know that something has been conceived and that something is growing. First ultrasound pops and you can begin to see, oh, this is serious business. Why is that significant? Because this is the point now where everything you externally do as the care provider for that organism is going to determine an outcome result. This is why prenatal care is so significant. This is why couples counseling is so important. This is why the foundation for what will ultimately become the connectivity of mentoring and nurturing is so significant. You have to know now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, you have to know now what your commitment to this is going to be.
And therein lies, I think, a great deal of the challenge, because that act or that involvement or that, I'm not going to say awareness, but that.
Oh yeah, you can say awareness, but go ahead.
Well, but awareness implies some intentionality.
And that's why I say you can do this.
But the point I'm saying is but what, from the angle that I'm coming from is that if you're unaware or not intentional in this process, it is going to be developing either way. And that's why you said you go back to the womb.
Oh yeah.
But it also, it's the connection with the one giving the caregiving to instill that particular care that's necessary throughout this important stage of this process.
Precisely right.
And if we're not aware and intentional in doing it, the impact is a lifelong impact.
It most certainly is, and it most certainly will be a life.
And it's manifested in so many different ways.
Yes.
That makes trying to correct that or to adjust that literally almost impossible, if not, difficult, if not impossible.
Difficult in the sense that it will now require of the individual who is engaged in this, who is experiencing the quote unquote difficulties of what we call adjustment concerns. And stemming from those adjustment concerns can be levels of extreme anxiety, equally distributing themselves as levels of deepening and darkening depression, because they're mood disorders. Stemming from that is the internalized belief that there's something about me that is amiss. It is going to require now a concerted effort on the part of whomever is engaging with this individual to take him or her back to that point where the wheels started to roll off of. the wagon, or we took that hard left into the cul-de-sac instead of staying on the highway. It's going to take a combined effort on the part of whomever the therapist is and that client is, because a partnership has to be formed. And this is why it's so essential that I interject right now. You are going to require somebody who is a certified and a qualified practitioner in behavioral sciences and behavioral management to engage in the reset moments that are going to be required, because you're taking this person all the way back to the point where the acknowledgement of the conception was or was not as productively grounded as it could have and should have been. Now, this is where, go ahead.
I say that in a sense because, I get what, I'm glad you clarified it and really gave some good help to those that are listening, because that was an aha moment for me, that I just shared. And I say that in a sense because I see where the root, you just gave us the root of how our society gets to where we are.
Yeah.
Okay. And for me, it's like you said, I mean, you can't look at the tree and go like, oh man, that tree ain't no good. And the fact of the matter, it's not the fact that the tree ain't no good, it's the roots.
It's the roots. Yes. It's the roots.
It's the roots.
Yeah.
And we want to look at the tree and blame the tree, but it's the roots. And it's so example. I mean, we look at the tree, and we had an event yesterday, and I was talking about how a tree can look like it's strong until the wind started blowing. And then when the wind started blowing, the tree just blow out the ground. Why? Because of the roots.
The roots were not stable.
They dead.
Yeah.
They dead. And so when you say that, that was that clarifying moment for me. But to understand that there's hope. There's hope in this process of being able to be willing to do the work, to reconnect those roots to the source and identify the fact that there is some corrections that can be done. But we got to stop looking at the tree as the problem. We got to stop looking at the situation. What you see is a result, not necessarily it's the cause and effect, but it's at the root where we got to get to. And so it's very important that you say, and many of us gonna need help going back to get to that place, because the root cause and the facts is the way we're dealing with, they typically don't look anything alike.
Well, they will not look alike because the consistency of looking alike is still driven by the person's perception of what he or she is engaging with.
It's you're saying all of the things, and as we try to connect the dots here, because in my philosophy of love, as it pertains to our inability to connect to love in its true intent, in its true sense, is the reason why we can't get it to, we're not living the life that we need to, or we want and desire to live, because we can't connect the dots. We see something and we want answers to what we see, but the answer to what we see is not something that you can see. You can't see it. And so that means that we've got to change and adjust the way in which we position ourselves to be able to identify and recognize what the root true cause and effect is, or what the real answer to what appears to be my situation, my issue. And that's it really stems. I'm getting ready to mix two things up, but I can't help it. Love is the answer. Comes from the way in which we position ourselves towards love. And as a result, we can't get love if we don't reposition ourselves to align ourselves with love instead of wanting love to align itself with us.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and notice we keep using, again, alignment. And consider that every single time you argue against that alignment, you compel that alignment to present itself to you. This is where the solution is right in front of your face. And it's something as simple as dispelling the limitation of a thought that says, I can't do this. In the world of mental health, I can't simply means intellectually, cognitively accepting negative thinking. When you tell yourself to accept a negative, you are dispelling everything that is positive about your sensitivities and your sensibilities. You look in the mirror and you say, I suck. Negative thought, I suck. And you are intellectually and cognitively facilitating the actions that will make you, quote unquote, suck. I'm living up to who I think I am.
I am what I think I am.
And when I take you in that other direction, one of the most significant statements made in human intellectual growth was the statement, I am that I am. Your interactive mindfulness is telling your thoughts to facilitate that interactive mindfulness. You are actively telling yourself to be misaligned. You're telling yourself that there's nothing about me, quote unquote, that is redeemable. There is nothing about me that has and this is the sinker, purpose and meaning.
And those are the impacts that many of us live through and are led to believe that we have no value.
Exactly. And when you have, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, but go right ahead.
When you have societal reinforcers that are blowing that on a bullhorn at you, volume turned up every single moment of your life, you begin to internalize that the emotional deprivation, the thing that emotionally connects us. And again, remember, emotions tell us to pay attention to this moment right here. Don't get confused by everything else. Pay attention to this. Why am I paying attention to this? Because this moment is the criticality of decision-making that determines your outcome result. How you feel about this is your situational awareness. What kind of situation do I find myself in determines what my options of resolution will be. The trust and confidence that comes from that is the self-esteem and the sense of meaning that self-esteem gives you. And key elements of that self-esteem are respect, purpose, clarity, and direction. When you can, in effect, intellectually and cognitively avoid negative thinking, then you have just told yourself, yes, you can. Okay, I know it's a political bumper sticker from several years ago, but it still works. Yes, you can. You
Yes.
can move past this. And the moment you accept what it is you're moving past is the moment you have limited the negativity's influence on you, because you now see what you're moving away from.
And do we see the comparison here as to the value of love in this concept?
Absolutely, because again, remember, love by its very structural alignment and form is a living, organic, vibrant emotion.
To whatever your circumstances or situation presents at any given time.
And always bearing that in mind gives you the comparison and contrast that is essential to you determining the quality and quantity of your circumstances and your situation.
Of your
Is
life.
this the best I can be? That's a challenge. Love tells you, is this the best I can be?
And the thing about it is that it's so open-ended that it gives you the desire to, or gives you the wherewithal to strive or thrive for more, because you don't know where that end will be, because the opportunity of the moment tells you that I can make it through this moment. I can push through to go through into another. It really psychologically and mentally and physically is the source that allows us to know that everything is going to be okay.
And that developmental clarity is what facilitates the desire to pursue it. Because you've heard the bumper sticker before: attitude in, belief out. What you put in as attitude is what you get out as behavior. I know. If your attitude is such, and we're talking now between ages basically 11 to 18, when a person's structural alignment of his or her thinking, critical thinking, and reasoning becomes the behavioral application of adaptation, adjustment, and achievement. We're now talking where self-esteem and self-respect have given you purposeful meaning and quality. You now know what my life means to me. You take ownership of it. You are no longer controlled by it. You are managing it. And it being that intellectual thought process that facilitates that. The more I think about it, the more I become it. And the more I become it, the more I think about it. It is the rhyme that you get. That's your hard currency. The more you put value into yourself, the more you value yourself.
And those attitudes that assist you in navigating is those attitudes of love that you need to be able to navigate this thing called life.
That's why, from its very conceptual, organically and physically, from its very fundamental alignment, love is what got you here in the first place. With all respect to Tina, this is what love has to do with it. This is what love does with it. You're absolutely correct. It's not, it's not just an emotion. It's not just a commodity. It is a fundamental, influential arc in your developmental progression and your cognitive realization of the purpose and meaning your life is to this
existence.
This engagement. That's your alignment.
And that's what I was understanding you to say, is that it's getting the understanding that this is the alignment that we are looking for, instead of trying to figure it out. We just need to align with it.
And by aligning with it, internalize it.
Oh, it being one and the same.
One and the same.
I mean, it's not who you are, it's what you are. Mm-hmm. It emanates from who you, it's in you. And it's because of that, it's so, I'm not going to say easy because that's not the word I want to say here.
No, not right now.
It's so clarifying.
Yes.
So that you can at least know that the direction that you're in or on, that the journey is clear. That's all we can expect or accept from this thing called life is a clear journey. That's it. That's the significance of this. It's not that you're going to try, you're trying to fix, all you want is a little bit of clarity. Mm-hmm. And this love brings us the clarity emotionally, psychologically, physically, all the things that we need to navigate this thing. But we don't, I'm almost being inclined to say that it's almost been intentional that we're not given the need or the information to understand what it takes to successfully navigate this thing. Because I tell you, if we had it, we could eliminate a whole lot of nonsense.
A tremendous amount of nonsense. And it's in the nutshell application of it, the mindfulness of its meaning and purpose is what becomes the central struggle. See, this is, you heard me mention a few moments ago, separating control from management. We don't control anything. We will never be in a position where we can control anything. We can be mindful of the circumstances and the situations that are presenting themselves, and we can, by virtue of our intellectual capacities, our sense of trust and confidence in our abilities, figure out the alignment that is most productive and beneficial for us. We can do that because we have this ability at any point in time to adapt and adjust.
And I think that's the misunderstanding.
That's the misunderstanding. We spend so much time trying to control instead of learning how to manage, becoming mindful of why and how we're organizing our thoughts. We're orientating ourselves, to our circumstances and situations, and we are operationalizing that as a significant element of our adaptation and adjustment to circumstances and situations.
And could that be driven from selfishness?
It is 90% of the time driven from selfishness. And it's at this point in time that I want to interject a thought to you. Selfishness is not the villain that sometimes we want to make it. Selfishness means that there is a sense of self, a systemic emotional link to my feelings that normalizes the systemic relationship I have to my circumstances. If I am selfish in my desire, the purposefulness and the specificity of that purpose becomes my meaning. Now, I have to, and I see it's there for you, I have to be aware of the value and the moral complexities of the decision making that this is requiring of me.
I just want to interject here because you just ran down my road. Okay, because you dumped into, because a lot of the challenges that I hear from people when I tell people, I said, in the process of having to give, you got to have something to give.
Yes,
you don't have anything to give, you're not going to be productive and being able to provide that resource to someone who is in need.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same love that you need to have to give is based on the motivation for what it is and why you're giving it. Okay. And so when you said selfishness is good, and I go back to the point where I say, okay, the reason when you have self-love, which is basically an element of being selfish,
Mm-hmm.
is the being self-love. It's like I'm focusing on me.
On me.
With the intent to be a benefit to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
My motivation for being selfish is to benefit someone else. My motivation for building myself is in the intent is to give it to someone else. When my intent is to be self-induced, meaning that everything I'm heaping it on myself, that's not the right selfishness that we're referring. That's that other 95% that I'm referring to as being selfish in the sense of being able to you're all for your own self. You're
Mm-hmm.
all in it with the intent of benefiting you and you alone.
You and you alone. And
in
the context of you and you alone, you run directly into the conflict of everyone that is around you, because you are now struggling with your environmental circumstances.
Which is implied, which is necessary to understand that we're here to serve one another.
Mm-hmm. Serve, and although you see it and sometimes it gets misconstrued and tortured, serve and protect.
Yeah. To protect and preserve. That's my word.
Protect and preserve.
Protect and preserve. You protect and preserve and protect.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is in essence the purpose of love, is to ensure that those things happen from generation to generation
and consistently happen from generation to generation, because the more consistent something is, the more certain you are, the more confirming you are, and the more clarity is being provided. There are 4 C's in this. There's the consistency, there is the certainty, there is the confirmation, and there is the clarity. This is the meaning and purpose. When I understand the meaning and purpose of love, I can see the value of love. And as an applicational design, the value of love enhances its consistency and its clarity. I do this out of love. How many times have you seen a parent say, this is going to hurt me more than it does you? I do this out of love for you because I don't want you to make this mistake again. I don't want you to have this misinterpretation of something again.
And life is not, it does not forgive.
It does not, because life is not the forgiver. It's not.
Life doesn't forgive.
There's only one function that life has, and that is to be something that is, by its design, integrated fluidically into your environment. It's a logical process.
It's a consistent process. You can bank on it. You can
exactly.
This is going. You don't have to worry about if, when, or why. It's going to happen.
It is going to be here.
Yes, it is. It is. To say, this goes back to a episode that I did of It's Life, and it was like, is life fair? Absolutely not. And guess what? It was never intended to be.
No.
And for us to have a conclusion, can come to some kind of rationale to think that it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
See, the mere fact that we are, each and every one of us are different, implies that the experiences that we're going to have with life are going to be different. But life itself is going to be consistent for everybody. It's just that we bring things to it that makes it seem or appear to be different from me or you.
And when we can accept that from one another, when we can accept that from one another, what we are doing is actually managing our perception of what we mean to one another.
And that's the part where we know when serving one another becomes very relevant or very relevant, because we're all in this thing together.
All here together.
We're all in this thing together. And to think that my purpose for being here is different than your purpose for being here, because we are different in what we have to offer. We offer something different, but it's to get to the same place. And this, I mean, it's to protect and preserve, like you said. It's to protect and to serve and to protect.
Serve and protect. Yeah.
That's purpose. That's purpose. How you do it, whether you do it on the East Coast, the West Coast, the South, and the North, it don't matter, as long as you're working to sustain that same thing and that purpose. And that is to understand that, how does my decision that I'm getting ready to make protect and serve?
And serve, right.
That's it. Now, the only thing that we drop in there is that humanity, and that's what's behind us.
And because humanity is behind it, humanity gives us that extra acknowledgement of the capacity for our differences to actually strengthen our reinforcement of this purposefulness.
Stronger. We're
Mm-hmm.
stronger together. We're stronger because you got differences that I don't have. You got things that I don't have. And together, collectively, we're better.
We're better. Mm-hmm. You enhance the quality of our life each and every time you can acknowledge the difference you have and the commonality you can find with another person.
All at the same time.
All at the same time. All in the same context. That is that moment.
Yeah.
That's why this moment is so significant. This moment. When I can see you for whom you are, and you can see me for whom I am, we have just become mindful of our meaning and our purpose.
The value.
Of love.
The value of love.
The value of love.
We can't stress this enough.
No.
Is that 4-letter word transcends your situation or circumstances and initiates in the very moment that you're in your success, through it, in it, around it, involved in it. It gives you everything that you need if you can actualize it, if you can embrace it, if you can be it.
That's it.
And begin to see the value that it presents you to be able to navigate every moment of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Man, all we're trying to do is make this clear, guys.
That's it.
All we're trying to do is make this clear.
And the moment it becomes clear to you is the moment that, from an emotional perspective, and this is why it's so significant, emotions draw us to this moment and everything that this moment encompasses. Of all of the emotions we have, fear is the strongest, because fear tells us precisely what it is about this moment we have the ability to manage. Fear tells you, focus on how you take his or her difference, align it to your difference to find a commonality. Fear tells you precisely what it is in the environment you have the ability to overcome, and you overcome things by learning how to manage your effective response to them. You know, if you came in and told me you were afraid of fire, why would I talk to you about being afraid of cats? You said you're afraid of fire. You already know what you had the ability to overcome. We just need to desensitize the significance you place on the concept of the fire and redirect that energy into something that is more fluidic and harmonious. And what did we say love was? A living, organic, vibrant emotion. Fluidic, aligning itself with life, flowing with life.
Learning how to embrace that.
And hold tight to that.
Mm-hmm. Learning how to embrace that. And understanding that that is a philosophical and intellectual and an intentional change that we have to occur, that has to occur in our minds so that we can be able to possess this, because it is something that we have to possess if we want to align ourselves with the things that we need to be able to navigate successfully through this thing called life. And
exactly.
That's man.
That's why it becomes what is sometimes referred to as idealistic normality. This is the higher view I have of what is normal. I can see the intellectualization of it becoming the foundation for it, and it builds upon itself. This is the ideal that we strive towards. The ideal is to be able to love, to be able to engage in the processes and the foundational structure and form of love, because every single time we do that is every single time we enhance that, because of the trust and confidence that's born by it.
And that's when this thing called life really becomes vibrant. Becomes very productive. It changes this journey from a struggle to thriving.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all wrapped up.
All because we intellectually and cognitively accept normal thinking. Notice the play on that. Intellectually, cognitively avoid negative thinking is the reverse of intellectually and cognitively accepting negative thinking. We reverse engineer it.
And we do it so well.
And we do it so well that it becomes a continuing variable in the approach we bring to problem solving. When there's a consistent variable that says, I have the trust and the confidence to affirm what it is I'm going to do, then you've already made the choice that is most productive and beneficial to you and for you. You've told yourself to be better than your circumstance and situation, and you're going to drive yourself to do that. That's the inspirational quality of thinking and behavioral alignment. It inspires you to enhance the way you think and behave.
Again, another benefit of understanding love. It's to know that it is the ability to inspire, to cause us to want to do better, to do the things that are necessary. And it all falls in line with having the right mindset, to having the right attitudes, to be able to see beyond what's in front of you, and knowing that the alignment that you're on or in is going to produce what's necessary for that which you cannot see at the moment, at this time. Again, I don't want to get into anything other than that, but what it does, it gives you that confidence to move very assuringly into the moment that precedes the next moment, and then the next moment, and then it's that confidence. Again, that's the value of love.
And that's why it's so essential that as you see that confidence, you see the trust in the process that it gives you. the trust in the mindful acknowledgement that I can intellectually work my way through this, so that the physicality of it becomes the measurable acknowledgement of its value and purpose to me.
Mm-hmm.
This is the bond that we form. This is the sincerity of what ultimately becomes a partnership between I and the environment and me.
And the thing about it is that that's the whole intent of being here, is to have that connection with the responsibility to serve one another through it.
That's it.
Hey,
there we go.
We can't pull off more than one conversation. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm hopeful that as we continue to chop this up and come at it in many different angles, I know myself in the time that we've spent, I'm clearer and clearer and clearer. So my point for saying that, guys, is that stick with us.
Yeah.
It might not rain clear right now, but just stick with us. Stick with us and allow yourself to be open to understand, to hear what's being said in a manner that you can grab it.
That you can grab it.
Yeah. Because ultimately it's about you being able to navigate life. And these are the tools that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We're taking something that has been something that could have been very abstract, and we're trying to simplify it. So that you can use it in your life experience, on your journey.
Yeah.
So that you can be able to be all that you can be and reach your full potential. Having the tools that you need to align yourself with the success that you are intended to have in this thing called life.
Precisely right. Yep.
Man,
bite-sized chunks. Yep.
So that being said, and we can look, it is what it is. We'll be back. You come back, join us, hit the like button if you haven't. If it's something that you've heard that has helped you, it really helps us that you come back, spend some more time with us.
That's right.
We're here at ClearJourney's YouTube channel, but come back, subscribe. Go over and see us over on our ClearJourney website. And if there's anything that we can do, we can always reach out to us. And if you want to reach out to Dr. or myself, send us an email. There it is right there, info@clearjourney.org. And just put Dr. Brock on the subject line, or myself. If you want to hear back from us, we really are here to serve you.
Absolutely.
And so until the next time, and it's going to be a next time, we'll see you then. As we say, and always, we can't change life, but we can surely help you navigate it. Absolutely. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching this episode. Take a moment to head over to our social media platforms, connect with us, and leave a comment. We'd also love it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, head over to clearjourney.org for more great resources. We'll see you next time on the Philosophy of Love podcast.